Format, everybody understands, 6 minutes with about 15 minutes of Q&A with the crowd, so ask some great questions. When it is time for Q&A, raise your hand. I will be walking around with this mic to be able to give that to you so everybody else can hear the question that you have. But without to waste any time, I'm going to introduce Michael, and he's going to share a little bit with us about ContentKid. So let's give him a round of applause.
So I'll advance it by clicking it. Okay, good morning. Got me there? My name is Michael Almack, and today I'm going to be introducing to you a concept that I've been working on that once developed will be of great value to all of us consumers that enjoy good digital content, premium digital content. And it will also be a benefit to content providers like newspapers because it is actually going to introduce a new distribution model and revenue stream that they don't actually have at the present moment. So what is ContentKid? Meet ContentKid. ContentKid is a platform, or in layman's terms, would be a website and an app where you could actually access the premium digital content you want when you want it, as if you were an annual subscriber. So what do I mean by that? What is an annual subscriber? Well, every website, whether it's consumerreports.org or Wichita Business Journal, there's the public free site where you can check out the articles, the titles of the articles. You can click on them, but it'll say in order to read the article, you have to pay. You have to have an annual subscription. You have to sign it. Then there's the private subscriber version of the website, and in many cases, there are two different websites. Once you log in, you get to see everything for free. Click on whatever you want, all the videos you want. And what ContentKid is going to allow you to do is pay for or actually rent 2 hours or maybe 6 hours, depending on what the provider agrees to. You'll be able to pay for less than a cup of coffee the premium digital feed as if you were an annual subscriber. You'll be anonymous, but basically through this one website, this one login, one account you'll create with ContentKid, I'm calling it the login to rule them all. It's a way where you'll be able to view whatever you want when you want it without the hassle of logins and annual subscriptions. So I have a little video. Automatic. On. How do I get full screen? Yeah. All right. Yeah. I feel bad.
Ken, if you have any advice.
I can actually give you my keys, and you can download it directly from the USB. Oh, I'm still. All right. It's all right. It's all right. Actually, we could just do the video without the music. It's fine. So be quiet. I'll do the air guitar. you can just imagine there's music playing. Now you can. Yeah, you pay for what you want when you want it. You'll be able to choose from various genres, and then you can pick your favorites or whatever one you want. You click on it. The Consumer Reports, for example, will be 73 cents for 2 hours. You click on that. It'll actually take you to the feed as if you were on Consumer Reports. So through this, whether it's newspapers, sports magazines, journals, Journal of American Medicine, adult sites, you name it, you'd be able to go in with your account. You'd have PayPal to it. You'd sign in, and from that, depending on what the provider was willing to charge or willing to accept, we would then sell it to you and allow you to do it. So the paradox of the paywall. Paywall's been around since 1997. It seemed obvious at the time. You want to view the Wall Street Journal, they were the first persons to do it, first newspaper. But the issue with the paywall, and the reason why even today less than 5% of people actually pay for an account, is because of the inconvenience. And you only get one product. Okay, you get an account, you have a username and a password that you have to keep unique. Username, password, and then you got to pay in advance $100, $150, sometimes $300 a year. And you say to yourself, am I really going to use it every day? So those two psychological barriers are the reason why nobody likes paywalls. And right now, newspapers especially, and I'm glad to see reporter Voorhees here, the McClatchy newspapers, is that they're dying because they have very few people are subscribing, and the ad revenue is going more and more to the whizzes at Google and Facebook that have figured out that if you shop for shoes today, for some reason you're going to see some ads for shoes tomorrow and the next thing. That's what's making the money. They're getting the revenue, not the newspapers. So the reason why ContentKid will work is because people want variety. When you do your one login, you sign on and you pay, you want to be able to get all sorts of things. In fact, this technology can bring in new markets, telecounseling, telemedicine, LexisNexis, Scholastic, I really hope it happens, tutors, vloggers. You want to tutor somebody and be paid for it. You can have somebody on the other side of the world learn English at 73 cents for 2 hours of your time. And as I said, it's variety is what's going to sell this. Someone's going to do it, but I'm going to get right to the point here of how ContentKid makes money. When I mentioned, you said 73 cents for the 2 hours of Consumer Reports. Well, XYZ, MakeBelieve.com company, $150 a year subscription basically equals to 41 cents a day. That's what the content provider wants. What ContentKid will be able to do is they'd mark it up. It'd still be less than a cup of coffee, and it wouldn't be the whole day. It could be the whole day if the provider wanted it. But let's just say 1 hour, 2 hours. We could pay XYZ company, instead of the 41 cents they would normally get, we can pay them a premium, say 60 cents or 50 cents, and charge the consumer 98 cents. So content provider makes a premium, money they wouldn't get otherwise, because right now all they have are two revenue streams, small subscribers and ad revenue. So the provider will get money, ContentKid would make money, and you wouldn't have to deal with multiple usernames, passwords, and you can get what you want when you want it. One picture I wanted to put on here was a recycle bin with a bunch of unwrapped newspapers. How many people have experienced that? You buy a subscription to a newspaper, and you've wasted stuff. So people don't like it. It's the reason why they don't like the annual subscription. So it'd be a secure window that would be tied to your user ID. So you couldn't send this feed to your buddy Fred. It would only go to you, and this is something that the content providers would demand because it is copyrighted content. When you, how much time? 1 minute? When you click yes, I'll pay 72 cents for Consumer Reports, basically you are agreeing to the copyright terms and conditions, which I'll just click anyway, of that copyrighted material. Also, if this secure window will have a countdown clock, so you'll see whether you paid, if it's an hour or 2 hours, you'll see this clock clicking down, and if you run out of time, you want to renew, you can just pay another 72 cents, you get more time. Or if you get interrupted, you're under a tunnel or something around in the boonies, the app would automatically reconnect you once you're there, once you're back online. So we can talk more about it, but basically, as I said, Facebook and Google account for 76% of all digital ad growth. Meanwhile, newspapers, just that one genre, lost $800 million last year. 65% of all digital ad revenue goes to those big boys, and not the newspapers, which is one of the reasons why I'm doing this, is because I care about our free press. And if there's anything, I really hated to see the news of Wichita Eagle losing their press. We're turning into McPapers in this country. Native advertising basically is a glorified infomercial that's disguised as an actual news story. So I do not like that, but we'll go right on from here. Questions?
Maybe. There we go. It's time for some Q&A. Ted over here actually has a mic, and actually there's a question right behind you, Ted.
I saw that you had telemedicine on there. What about a variety of medical journals,
Oh, yeah.
medical articles, those types of things? Because some of those can be as high as $2,000, $3,000 just to get that particular medical journal or something like that for studies.
Exactly. All the medical scholarly journals, Journal of American Medicine, Philanthropy Today, any website that has a paywall is open to this. And so basically, the technology is there. And there's 3 facts I want to leave you with before I forget. One is the demand is there. People right now hate ads, and they don't like paywalls. The demand is there for people that want good digital news, entertainment, whatever it is. They want it. That's one fact. Second fact is there are only 2 revenue streams basically for digital content providers, as I mentioned, and it's fading, and they need a new revenue stream. In fact, they're wobbling on a 2-legged stool, and I think this sort of revenue stream would be the 3rd leg that would help content providers continue to grow. And the 3rd fact is this technology doesn't exist. Okay? I've always wondered, the genesis of this idea came to me when I was a long layover in an airport overseas. I didn't have local currency, and I ran out of things to read. And I sat there and I said, I didn't want to use a credit card to buy a paper or a book, and I didn't want to break a $100 bill. I said to myself, wouldn't it be great if there were a kiosk that looked like an ATM where I could walk up to it, log in, it's connected, and then it'll say, Michael, what do you want to read today? Oh, I want to read The Economist, or I want to read the Miami Herald. Okay, click it. 82 cents comes out of my PayPal account, connect it to my laptop. The software on the laptop reads the feed. There, I got today's paper. I said, why doesn't this exist? It's been boggling my mind. Every person I've talked to about this concept, I tell them this has been a pebble in my shoe for a long time. And I want you, and everyone I talk to tell me whether or not it is a diamond that I think it is, or if it's a simple stone. So I'll leave it with that. Next question.
Hey, Michael, that's really, really smart. I love the story. Really great idea. Appreciate that. Got a couple of questions for you. How many providers are currently participating? And secondly, where are you in the actualization of this? How far along are you, and when will it be ready? Type of a question.
Well, that's a great question. This is concept. I first pitched this at Startup Weekend 2014, and it's as I said, I've had a full discovery done. Clutch Studio, they helped make the video. I wish you could hear the music, but they did a full discovery on it. It's technologically possible. It's patent worthy. I did a full investigation of patents. But no, right now I need, in fact, it's the last question, I need a team that'll take this and run with it. So right now, I have a website, and it's got the video on it, and it's static. No providers yet, but I think what this is really going to start with are the small freelancers. Somebody that wants to, or a small town newspaper. That's how it's going to start, I think. Or maybe there'll be a big investor that has connections on the Tribune board or McClatchy or something, and then bring them in. That's that. Next question, Seth.
Hey, great idea. So it sounds like have you looked into if this is violating terms of service for any of these providers? Like, are you expecting pushback, especially from major providers that probably feel like they don't need you? Or what's to stop them from kind of adopting this sort of micro-subscription model themselves instead of going through a third party?
They actually do have a micro-subscription model, but it's failed because it's still the one product. I think New York Times did it and a few other papers. But it's still, you log in, great, you can buy today's paper, but you got to go through the hassle, and all you get is a one paper from that one provider. You can't get this other stuff. So that's the reason why it hasn't worked. And also, I have a childhood friend who's a vice president of legal at Sony Entertainment in California, and she told me as long as basically the onus, if you advise the consumer that when they click yes, they're assuming the terms and conditions of the copyrighted material that they're about to enjoy, that if you communicate that correctly and it's transparent, that they would be in violation if they somehow misused it and whatever. But as long as that transfer occurs and it's transparent, and of course you have the buy-in of that provider. I can't just, I mean, I could do something like this. We could have done it, but I've been sued immediately by, what are you doing, transferring our content without our authorization? So they have to be bought in on this.
Michael, to your right.
So I really like your idea. You said entertainment. Are you doing video too? Because I know a lot of my friends do HBO for Game of Thrones and then cancel it.
This was one of the initial ideas I had, is that this would be a way to get HBO Go, Showtime Now, all these things. It would be a premium. It'd probably be $10 a night or something, especially. And the other issue is these live events like the NCAA final or a boxing match, even Showtime and HBO Now that do it, they crash. So the technology has to get there as far as being able to have a whole bunch of people buy it all at the same time and watch the same thing. But no, that is exactly where I'm going. Any digital feed website that is protected by a paywall would be open to this. Any.
Okay. Have you considered that might be a better entry to market than going straight print first?
Well, I think, it wouldn't be just print. It's, like I said, any digital newspaper. I think, as I said, in order for this, the proof of concept to catch the eyeballs, it would probably be through freelancers. Think of Miss Abramson, the former editor of the New York Times, who's trying to do stuff on her own. I mean, it'd be great if she did it, and then we'd be able to sell her reporting via it. But it's going to start, I think, with a small content provider, writer, vlogger, you name it. Somebody with 20,000 Periscope followers or something. Who knows? But it'll be something like that, I think, is how it starts.
If there's content that you like and you need it for like research, will you be able to print that?
Yeah, it would be as if, as I said, the copyright infringement occurs when if you were to post the stuff that you copied and then distribute it vastly to people or try to resell it yourself, that would be the violation. It's kind of like, you can buy a song on iTunes or you can watch it free on YouTube. You say, well, how can those two exist? Well, that's the way it is. Ownership and being able to get what you want when you want it. And this basically is the iTunes for digital media, digital content. Like I said, I don't know why it exists. It doesn't exist.
On your right.
Yes, sir.
Two-part question. Which is the chicken and which is the egg? Do you need a content provider, or are you looking to build the platform first? And then the second part of that question is, doesn't this kind of exist with iTunes already and Newsstand and that kind of a platform? How is this different?
Okay. Second part. Right now, certain platforms do exist. There's something called Blendle, where you can buy an article. Like if you, basically this would be a feed of all newspapers and magazines. You like this one article, you can buy it for 12 cents euro, or 12 cents. You can buy the article, it'd be yours. There's nothing, what doesn't exist is you being able to interact with the website behind the paywall as if you were a subscriber, anything you want on that website. Basically, enjoy the website as if you'd signed in yourself. That does not exist. But what does exist, you know, you get these aggregators that bring in articles, and some are free, some aren't, paying for articles. There's a market for that too. But I think when it comes to the diversity that's on a website, somebody that used to live in Wichita and now lives in Boston and would like to know what's going on in the Eagle, they don't just want to read one article. They'd like to see what's going on in sports and local news and so forth.
So you said about 5% of the folks that are visiting, maybe say the Wall Street Journal or something like that, are subscribing, right? So which is more viable then for these providers? The 5% that pay for 100% access to the content, or people who might spend, 10 minutes out of a year then accessing the content? And if the 5% is financially better, wouldn't that then be an incentive for that company to not want to do business with you?
Well, there's always going to be an annual subscriber. In fact, this would not substitute them. In fact, if you were to use ContentKid more than half the month, you'd be paying more per diem, per day, than if you were an annual subscriber. In fact, what Blendle does is they say, if you keep downloading articles from The Economist, for example, they'll send you a deal. Say, look, you like The Economist, obviously, you've been reading their stuff. Here's a special deal for an annual subscription. We could do the same thing with ContentKid. We're not trying to get rid of the annual subscription. We actually want to get more people to, if they really love a provider, to subscribe and bring in and be an annual subscriber. But the thing is, this is money they would not get otherwise. There's not any business person that would say, okay, this is this is truly money they would not otherwise get, because they can keep the status quo and whistle Dixie, or they can try, they've been trying to figure out how to get another revenue stream, and this is the way to do it. Chicken and the egg thing, I didn't answer it. I would need a team to develop this, and because you need a team with a story, with a track record, to convince an angel investor to invest in it. And then when you get the angel investor, at the same time, you need to bring in a provider to try to make the soup, mix it up and make it work. So that's sort of the scale, time frame.
Just back to his question, that 5%, are you certain that this wouldn't cannibalize some of that critical 5% that are subscribers today?
It may. There's a very few papers, I'm just focusing on newspapers, that have a very loyal base, that are strong base. One is New York Times and Wall Street Journal. But I've got the impression that no matter if this exists or doesn't, it's not going to make a difference, I don't think. Because like I said, people that do the math are still going to understand. In fact, ContentKid could be a way for you to sign in to the provider. You can actually buy an annual subscription to the Wichita Eagle, and that could be an icon on your screen. So when you log into ContentKid, you click that, you've got the annual subscription. You won't get the pop-up that says, today you want to read it, it's 85 cents. You'll just go ahead and be on, because you essentially signed on through ContentKid as an annual subscriber. So ContentKid could be the third-party paywall for these websites. And it's great, because right here, oh no. The paywall system, like the IT cost to create a customer service department, is very high. They could basically give the responsibility for the subscriptions to third party like ContentKid, whether it's called ContentKid or not, I don't care. But it could take care of the subscriptions, the whole revenue thing, because ContentKid would handle all the money transaction. They would get a single payer, which they would love, and an audit of exactly who visited their site and when.
It's a great idea, also, I wanted to say.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions? Well, with that, very last question. What can we as a Wichita community do for you?
Yeah, I need a team. It'd be great to find individuals here in Wichita and Kansas that have been successful in an IT company who'd be willing to take the reins on this. My goal is to see this thing happen. I'm not on any trip or anything. I can't do this by myself. I'm going to Omaha on August 10th to their Million Cups to talk about it. But the idea is to get a team, and then with that team, you build a minimum viable product, VP, and then you start approaching investors and let it run.
Well, thank you very much. Let's give him a round of applause. And since you've already been to several of these, I'm going to give it to you at your discretion for what you want to do with it. So here's the your fourth or third. The third. You're going to get a fourth one in Omaha, so feel free to do with it as you please. With that, I'm going to bring Kenton up to actually talk about some announcements that we currently have before we bring our second presenter up. So, Kenton.
This is the part everyone looks forward to every week. Thank you for laughing. Couple big things happening this week. This weekend, the second annual Mini Maker Fair is happening at Exploration Place. It's free. It's open to the public. It's a really cool thing. Make sure you go. That is July 30th and 31st, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. both days. And then a lot of other events happening. A lot of them scrolling through. There's tons of them. All of them at startupwichita.com/events. If you have an event that you want us to talk about, you can post it up there. Additionally, there is this super cool thing. It's Get Started Wichita from Cox Communications. They do this in a lot of other markets too, and I'm really glad that it's here. But Thursday, August 25th from 6 to 9 p.m., they're looking for a whole bunch of people to pitch their business ideas. There's a bunch of prizes. Let's see if I can remember what they are. Like $5,000 in cash and design help from JJo, ad agency in town, handshakes and applause, which is the most important thing in life. So you can head over to coxblue.com/getstartedwichita, and you can sign up to pitch. If you don't want to pitch, you can't pitch, whatever, that's fine. You can go and attend. It's going to be a great deal. You make sure you want to do that. And we have a cup to give away. Oh, there's a bunch of these flyers, too. Like, take 2 with you when you leave here. Tape 1 up by the coffee or water cooler where you work or where you hang out, and then put the other one on your bedside table so you see it every day, and then you'll remember to go. So let's go with who's new here today? Who's never been to a Wichita 1 Million Cups before? Okay. Whose birthday is next? Of you, who has the next birthday? Who has a birthday in July still? Okay. August? September? September. Come on up. I knew that would work. Thanks very much for coming to 1 Million Cups. Can you tell us why you're here?
Yes, my name is Linda Kirby. I'd never been before. I've been very curious. I've been a business person in Wichita about 29 years. I am in the Emerging Leaders class with Michael, and I'm running for judge, Sedgwick County judge. The primary is on August 2nd. Please vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That seems fair. See what I did? All right, next presentation. And let's get started with the next presenter. Come on up. Oh, keynote? I like how we all use completely different softwares all the time. That's fine. That's great. There you go.
I am, yes. Ooh. A little hot. Okay. Okay. Good, maybe? Sorry, okay. I just got scared. I'm sorry. 7 years ago. Our forefathers. Oh, good. Okay, great. Because I don't know the rest. Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Forrest Hull. If you don't recognize me, that is okay. I'm not from Wichita. I'm actually from Tulsa, Oklahoma. I traveled here this morning, so apologies to the organizers if I freaked you out by showing up a little later than maybe I was supposed to. But regardless, I'm very happy to be here, very happy to talk to you about my idea and my business and get to hear feedback from y'all about what you think about what I'm doing, and then also to hear what's going on here in Wichita, because I've done a lot of 1 million cups and I've heard from a lot of people, and I really, really enjoy hearing from other people whose passion is entrepreneurship and business. So please, afterwards, come up and talk to me because I'd love to hear. But anyways, a little bit of very brief intro about myself. Like I said, I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma. I am currently attending Oklahoma State University. I just finished my freshman year. I'm an entrepreneurship and finance major. I've always been really passionate about business, always passionate about big business and starting your own business and technology, and you can kind of see how that came to fruition through the company. But on to the company. My company, Paradigm Creative, in its rawest form, is a technology company for entrepreneurs, to help entrepreneurs, people like you, people like me, for entrepreneurs, by entrepreneurs. And a little bit more expanded version of that is Paradigm Creative is a mobile application development firm that takes the seemingly, keyword seemingly, very complicated and oftentimes very costly process of developing an app like ContentKid, and makes that process available and affordable for all entrepreneurs. So people like you, people like me, small business owners, organizations, people who kind of identify as an entrepreneur. And the goal here, and if you take away anything from today, okay, take away anything from our presentation or remember anything, we want to create high quality app development service that is low risk and low cost. So those 4 words that all entrepreneurs love, low risk and low cost. So if you remember anything, remember that. Now, you may be hearing that and you may be thinking, okay, every business under the sun says low risk and low cost. That's everyone's appeal. Very few actually do it. How do you practically accomplish low risk and low cost? Well, I'll get into it. So first of all, low cost typically kind of implies low risk, so I'll kind of start there. There are 2 main strategies that me and my team, people who work for me and with me, we implement to kind of accomplish this goal of low risk and low cost. Now, the first one is we offer to our clients, people who sign contracts with us, people who are our customers, we offer to them the opportunity to pay for a portion of our development fee, so the cost that it costs the customer to hire us to develop their app, by means of a royalty after the end of the development process paid to us. So once this person has an app that we've developed and we have launched on an app store and they are in the point of profitability, which is a great point, okay? In the point of profitability, they can pay for part of our fee that way. So they're spreading that risk out over a greater period of time. And like I said, being able to pay for something and getting active ROI while you are making profit on that investment, in this case an app, is a really good thing for entrepreneurs. And this concept of running a lean organization, lean startup, it's a buzzword among entrepreneurs and the corporate world right now. It's very, very, just realized I'm short on time, very big thing, so our customers really like that. Now the second one is newer. It's a new strategy that we have recently implemented based off of feedback from 1 Million Cups presentations. And I kept getting these questions that were either A, I first of all have an app that is almost done, like 75% done. Can you take it from that 75% to completion? And then B, people are, okay, I don't know much about the industry and the market. Is there some sort of way that you can offer maybe a small bit, a way to kind of dip my toe in the water and get a little bit more information about building an app and turning my app into a reality? So we answered this kind of problem by creating what we're calling soft launch, and it breaks our normal full development contract into 3 phases, phase 1, 2, and 3, that each kind of help a potential customer ease their way into the development process instead of having to commit to the full contract from the outright. So those are our 2 main strategies, and there's other ones, just like cost-cutting strategies that we can talk about later in the Q&A if you'd like to, but I'm short on time. So results. Once again, you may be sitting there thinking, okay, this is great, but how is the market taken to it? Well, in short, we launched on July 22nd of 2015. Okay, so just kind of celebrated 1 year. And we took on our first contract, signed our first contract in December of 2015. And since then, we've done 7 contracts, idea to fruition, 7 clients, and refined all of our processes throughout that period of time. So things are going well, and it's an exciting time for myself and also the company, seeing all that come together. So next moves. This summer, since we're really going hard on expansion, it was the first year, that's a critical point in a business's lifetime. Went around to, and we'll be going around to, at the end of August, 16 1 Million Cups locations. These are a few of the ones that I've already hit and have gotten to talk to and hear from and meet people. But getting feedback and doing that kind of stuff is very valuable to me. So that's kind of what we did this summer and what we're continuing to do for the next few weeks or so. And it's been exciting. So I know I'm probably going over. That's the company, a little bit about myself as well, and I would be more than happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Forrest. Let's give him a round of applause. So I'll ask the first question. You've been to several 1 Million Cups. Which one has been the best so far?
Wichita.
There you go.
No, seriously, this is a huge one. If you don't know, if you've never been to another 1 Million Cups, this is a big one. Sorry, I'm going to grab my water. I'm a little hoarse, but one of the really good ones is Springfield, Missouri, and the organizers there are extremely talented and very, very passionate about what
we don't want to hear about them.
Okay, you are too. They're extremely passionate and very involved, and they do a lot of social media marketing and pushing 1 Million Cups. And their venue is fantastic. They average like 170 or 180 every week. I presented once last year right after the launch there as well. And back then they were doing like 100. So they're seeing, almost doubled their size, in a year or less than a year. So they're doing great things there. But once again, this is huge because like in Tulsa, the one in Tulsa where I'm from, we average 30 or 40. But, I was doing a quick rough head count, and it looks like there's getting close to 100 here today. So this is definitely one of the big ones. So keep coming.
So you say that you've completed 7 contracts so far. What kind of apps have you developed, and have those gotten to the point of profitability where you guys are receiving those royalties and being able to pay for your end of the input costs?
Yeah. So as far as the royalty option, none of our clients have opted into the royalty option, which shocked me because it's cheaper and it's lower risk and lower cost. But it seems as though entrepreneurs, and I understand this because I'm an entrepreneur, are the type that, their business is referred to as like their baby. They want every piece of it, which is fine. I mean, that's the way I was and am. So we haven't done that yet. We haven't gotten to do that yet. I'm really looking forward to, getting with a customer to where I can do that because that's an interesting revenue model, and it introduces recurring revenue, which I like. And then, I'm sorry, what was your other, what types of apps? So the types of apps and the categories have ranged from utilities to people wanting to do games, people wanting to do all sorts of things. And to tell you, there's one type or category that we've done a bunch of. There isn't one specific category. We've done, like I said, utilities. We've done apps that an organization. We're about halfway through a contract right now, developing an iPad app for a company out of downtown Tulsa, and their app isn't even going to be launched on the App Store. It's going to be used within their, used within their organization as kind of like an enterprise tool to make their organization run smoother and more efficiently and cut their costs. So it's interesting to see all the different ways and things that a year ago or 2 years ago I would have never expected we would be doing, but it's across the board as far as the type of app. Did that answer your question? Okay.
There's probably a lot of us here that aren't familiar with what it takes to build an app. Can you explain a little bit more about that process, the kind of languages you use or you focus on. And I know there's not a cookie cutter, here's the price range, but there's an idea of what it takes to build an app. Could you give us a little bit more information about that?
Sure. There was tons in that question, and it's good because there's a lot that I get to cover because of it. But we develop for, or we have developed for Apple and Android, so iOS, and those are the two big guys. I mean, if there is anyone in this room that has a phone that's not iOS or Android, I'll give you $1. But that's those are the main devices that we're working with. As far as the language, the actual programming language that we used Swift, which is Apple's brand new, or not brand new, it's a few years old, but their language that they invented, total Apple move, to create a language. We use that. We use C#, JavaScript, Objective-C, and yeah, that's just about it as far as what we've used. And then as far as what it takes, to give you an example, our contracts, they're broken up into 6 milestones, or 3 if you use soft launch. But our contracts are broken up into 6 milestones. The milestones are things like storyboarding the application, getting a back-end demonstration. So when we go to the client, we show them the functionality, not necessarily the aesthetic, beautiful, pleasing thing, but we show them a version of it that it just works. Is this what you want it to do? Is it accomplishing the goals that you want? And then we've got a milestone that covers the graphics that make sure it looks good, because that's huge, making sure it's aesthetically pleasing, because screen real estate is one of the hardest things to capture on a device, especially the way Apple set the bar so high. Now, as far as pricing, that one is a very hard question to answer, and I hate not giving concrete answers because I hate when people don't give me concrete answers. But I can't give you a concrete answer. I will tell you this, that applications in a traditional firm, if you Googled, app firm or something, for a medium level, average level app being developed that's an average complicatedness level or something like that, you're going to be very hard pressed to find a quote that is below 15 grand or 20 grand. And apps are being developed by the big guys, and we're talking 100 grand, 500 grand, huge price tags. Okay, with us, you're going to be hard pressed to get quoted above 10K. Okay, the contracts that we've done are below $10,000. They're $2,500, $3,000, $5,000, $7,000, on the top end. And the reason that is not because we make worse apps than them. Okay, our quality is just as good as them, but the problem is, and one of the things that I found when I was doing kind of a feasibility analysis at the start of this whole process, is there's a stigma that surrounds programming, and particularly iPhone and creating apps, that people are like, oh my gosh, it's so complicated, it's so hard to do. If I'm over 40, my brain can't even comprehend it. Like all this stuff, okay. It's like terrifying, it's so hard, and there's just wizards that do all this stuff that come out of the womb, like, okay. And the fact of the matter is, when I was a sophomore in high school, I decided that I wanted to get into applications, and I never took any formal training, I never took any classes, I didn't pay a dime for training, okay. I checked out a few books from a library that I never read, okay. No formal training at all, and I learned how to develop apps myself. I don't do the development anymore, I run it, but I learned how to do it. I learned how to program simply by learning how to Google well, okay. And if you're an entrepreneur, I think you know what I'm talking about. But Google is an amazing tool. The internet is an amazing frontier, and there's so much information, there's so much free information on it that you can learn so much. And I learned very quickly how to develop an app and learn how to program. I didn't pay a dime, and I can make an app just as good as the big guys. Okay, so what I found was, wait, how are people getting away with charging 20K for this? And you've got these computer programmers who are going to school, they're getting their computer science major, they're graduating from undergrad, and their billable rates are $55, $65, $75 an hour, sometimes up to $100 an hour, okay, right out of school, which is more than architects are making billable hours, that's more than engineers are making, and those are regulated industries where you have to pass a test and get a license. You don't to program, okay? And because of this stigma, and because people don't know, they just don't know how easy it is, the prices are extremely high. There's a extreme lack of equilibrium and inefficiency in the marketplace that's due to the stigma, and then also due to the fact that the iPhone came out 8 years ago. Okay, so the market hasn't had time to get cheap, if you will. You know, people, it's such a young market. I mean, it's a multi-billion-dollar market industry, but it hasn't had time to get cheap yet. So as far as pricing goes, we price fairly, which happens to be incredibly competitive and way below any of the nearest competitors. So if that answers your question, I know that was really long-winded. Yes,
hey, so kind of two-part question. I noticed that you mentioned that you also do some graphics work, so it sounds like you can do both development and design.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out if we should do that both at the beginning, but basically what we found, and in hiring developers, it's hard to do. It's hard to find developers that are good at both, but it's worth it because that seamless integration of the two pieces pays off exponentially in the long run when you're developing an app. So yeah, we do both, and we prefer it that way because I love programmers, okay? I love programmers. But one of the ways, typically kind of like a stereotypical programmer, their mind works is they're into, you know, let's do it this way, let's get it done, let's follow this set of requirements, which may be totally different than a different programmer's or a designer. And when those two come together and they don't line up, there can be a lot of conflict and a lot of inefficiency. So we do both. We integrate the two, and we parallel the two processes.
So yeah, second part is, based on that, what kind of a team do you have on staff? And do you subcontract out a lot of this, or do you have a lot of people who are just actually on Paradigm Creative payroll?
So the best way and the most efficient way right now, with the size, with the way we're doing things, and the rate at which we're bringing in clients, is a subcontract model. However, I don't want people to think that we are hiring Najeen from India, who's not ever in the U.S. talking to us or anything. The people that I hire are people who I have trusted in and who have amazing character, okay, amazing character, the people that I've hired and that I've worked with. And although they are paid on a per contract basis, they are committed to seeing this company grow and almost have definitely have a non-compete policy between us. But following the contract, paying per contract model, it helps keep our operating costs very low, and a lot of these developers that I work with really prefer it. So,
any other questions? Ted.
I advise a lot of startups, and typically before I start questions like this, I like to ask, can I ask some pointed questions?
Is that mean questions?
Well, I don't want them to be mean. Like I'm trying to uncover some information.
Do you own a company?
I have. I do right now too. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great.
I'm
great.
all for it.
Okay, so you're a developer studio. I mean, that's kind of what you are, right?
Sure.
Okay. And you're
Development firm.
Sorry,
Development firm. I mean,
sure.
same thing.
Studio firm. Yeah. And so from a competition standpoint, you're less expensive. Are you full-time right now? You're at school still?
Well, during the summer I'm full-time, but at school I'm not full-time.
Okay. The rest of your contract developers, are they full-time or are they?
I mean, they're per contract,
Okay.
but they are full-time. They're not students.
They're not students.
No.
They're full-time developers working for a part-time CEO.
Yes. I'm not a CEO.
Not a CEO.
No, that's public company stuff. I'm not a CEO.
Well,
I'm an
yeah.
owner.
I'm with you. I hate it when like someone with less than 25 employees says I'm a CEO. Well, that's what you put on your business card. That's not really what function you provide. But you run the company. You're
Yes,
okay. So do you think that once you're done with school, or do you think that that limits you based on like having a part-time leadership limits the company while you're in school?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I get it a lot. Okay, I'm 18 years old. I turn 19 next month. And does that limit me? If you view it on a pessimistic side of things, yeah, because not all my hours can be devoted to the business. But bottom line is, I believe that the highest level of success, okay, is the marriage of opportunity and preparation. And when I'm out here doing these 1 million cups and everything, and I'm meeting with clients and I'm meeting new people, I'm getting a lot of opportunity there. When I go to school for 9 months out of the year, I'm getting a lot of practical book knowledge, okay? A lot of people have strengths in one or the other, but I think that the time that I'm spending in school is conducive to success, and I think that the marriage of the two is a very good balance and very worth my time. So I don't think that my company is suffering. I think that it would suffer if I didn't get that practical knowledge, because I would make a lot of mistakes that I can learn from in the classroom, okay? And the other thing is the way that being an entrepreneurship and a finance major works. I get to talk to the people who work at the school, and like example, next semester I met with my advisor yesterday actually in Stillwater, and we set it up next semester to where I don't have any classes Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Okay, 1 million cups happens on Wednesdays, so I'm clear for that, and I can work Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. Not a big deal, all that much. I mean, I still get a five-day work week. So the balance that I have now, I don't think that the company is suffering in an absent leadership, I don't think.
Great. I'll ask you easier question. What can we as a community do for you?
Yeah. Okay, so few things. First thing, I don't want it to come across as I'm coming here and pitching or anything like that, because they're called 1 Million Cups communities for a reason, and I've been to a bunch of them. And the value of getting to hear from the people who are here, and particularly people like you's failures, okay? Now, that sounds dark, but I really believe in hearing people's failures and failing forward and failing fast, okay? So keep coming to 1 Million Cups and keep sharing the way you succeed, keep sharing the way that you fail, whether it be by coming up here and presenting like myself and ContentKid, or just networking, because that's how I got started. I started in 1 Million Cups when I was the summer between my sophomore and junior year in high school, and I fell in love with it, and it was like the growth of a concept was just accelerated by being in 1 Million Cups. So keep coming to 1 Million Cups. That's a big thing, and that's an easy one, okay? Second thing, if you know people, if you yourself feel that something like this, a service like this, could be beneficial to you, it could help you take your company to the next level or something like that, talk to me afterwards. I get a lot of people, a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls, and they say, how much do you charge for initial consultation? I don't charge for consultation. I don't charge for words, okay? I'm 18 years old. My words aren't worth much anyways in the first place, okay? So if you have an idea, if you don't know anything about the industry, talk to me. I'll help move you along. I come from a place where my 75, 80% of my success has been built by people who are willing to put a hand down to help me up. So how selfish would it be if I didn't do the same for other people? So please talk to me afterwards. But if you know someone who may benefit from this, send me their contact information. It's not intimidating. I'm not going to force a sales pitch on you or anything. I'm going to be very straightforward. So if you know someone, send them my way.
Thank you very much. Let's give Forrest a round of applause. Well, and Forrest, you probably have like 15 of these now. So would you like one?
Okay, so I'm building a sculpture.
All right, okay. All right.
And I've got 3 right now, so.
Well, thank you guys very much for coming. Same time, same place next week. We got a lot of new faces. invite some friends. Let's pack this house with another 100 plus next week. So with that, thank you very much and have a great rest of the week.